The water and the blood. John 19:34. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water. Water is energy, power, the life of the angels. Blood is the life of the flesh. Let's talk about the water first. John 4:10. Yahusha answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of Yahweh, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. Genesis 6, verses 6 through 8. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And Yahusha said, And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. Genesis 6:11 through 13. The earth also was corrupt before Yahweh, and the earth was filled with violence. And Yahweh looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Yahweh said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Water is power, energy. The fallen angels rebelled and taught men rebellion against Yahweh. The fallen angels taught man how to harness the energy, the power of water, oxygen, the ether. We became power hungry, draining the earth of her energy, polluting all flesh and even the earth. The fallen angels taught us their power. They rebelled by leaving their station and leading man into the same rebellion. Yahweh cleansed us, purified us, and chastened us with the water, power we so desired. Noah's day, the great flood. Blood is atonement of the life for the life of the flesh. The contaminated DNA, contaminated by the fallen angels, like radioactive fallout. Leviticus 17, verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I gave it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. John 19:25 through 30. Now there stood by the cross of Yahusha, his mother and his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Yahusha therefore saw his mother, and the disciple standing by whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour that disciple took her into his home. After this, Yahusha, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, saith, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel full of wine vinegar, and they filled a sponge with wine vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Yahusha therefore had received the wine vinegar, he said, It is finished, and he bowed his head, and gave up the spirit. The name Mary means rebellion. there were 3 Marys at the foot of the cross, one for each generation of the rebellion. The first generation was the generation before the great flood, who were led astray by the power of the angels, and they were punished with the flood of the water power that they so desired, lusted after. This is the story told in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 through chapter 8. And almost immediately, we began sinning again. The second generation was the generation after the flood, who rebelled again without the prompting of the fallen angels. The rebellion of the fallen angels was put down with the great flood. The second generation became violent and filled the earth with the blood of men in their pursuit of power, the power of the blood, the control of other men, control over the lives of other men. The Old Testament is filled with all the stories of the violence of man fighting with his brother over land, possessions, women, religions, gold, idols, and power. And Yahweh saw that we were destroying ourselves again. And no matter how many prophets he sent to warn us, we continued to rebel against Yahweh. So finally, he sent his Son. John 3:16. For Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. Matthew 21, verses 33 through 41. Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard, and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another. Again he sent other servants, more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto them his Son, saying, They will reverence my Son. But when the husbandmen saw the Son, they said among themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. And they caught him, and cast him out of the vineyard, and slew him. When the Lord, therefore, of the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? They say unto him, He will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their seasons. And we messed it up again. The apostles did their very best, but we defied them and built magnificent cathedrals in their names and decorated them with all forms of idolatry, statues, paintings, reliefs, and entire buildings dedicated to the worship of the saints and not Yahweh. Look up the names of the cathedrals and where they are located to see what cities each received to rule over. St. Paul's cathedrals: St. Paul, Minnesota; Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania; Yakima, Washington; London, UK; Birmingham, Alabama; San Diego, California; Oklahoma City, Oklahoma; Des Moines, Iowa; Buffalo, New York; and Worcester, Massachusetts. St. Matthew cathedrals: Washington, D.C., South Bend, Indiana, and Dallas, Texas. St. John cathedrals: Cleveland, Ohio; New York, New York; Lafayette, Louisiana; Milwaukee, Wisconsin; Knoxville, Tennessee; Jacksonville, Florida; Denver, Colorado; and Boise, Idaho. St. Peter cathedrals: St. Peter Basilica, Vatican; Erie, Pennsylvania; Marquette, Michigan; Scranton, Pennsylvania; Rockford, Illinois; St. Petersburg, Florida; Belfast, Ireland; Belleville, Illinois; Alton, Illinois. St. James Cathedral: Seattle, Washington; Chicago, Illinois; Orlando, Florida; Vancouver, Washington; Brooklyn, New York. St. Andrew cathedrals: Grand Rapids, Michigan; Little Rock, Arkansas; Honolulu, Hawaii; Republic of Singapore, Sydney, Australia, Fife, Scotland, Glasgow, Scotland, Inverness, Scotland, Victoria, British Columbia, Tokyo, Japan, Bordeaux, France, St. Bartholomew Cathedrals, Pilsen, Czech Republic, Hesse, Germany, Frankfurt, Germany, St. Thomas Cathedrals, Arlington, Virginia, Reno, Nevada, Mumbai, Tamil Nadu, India, Dubai, Mumbai, India, Houston, Texas, St. Thaddeus Cathedrals, Kaladran, Iran, Baku, Russia, Cleveland, Ohio, Tehran, Iran, St. Simon's Cathedrals, Phoenix, Arizona, Indianapolis, Indiana. This is not a complete list, nor can I guarantee that it is 100% correct. Buildings were renamed or destroyed, and other buildings may have been dedicated to the saints under different names translated into the people's native language. There are churches and cathedrals all across our realm whose names may have been changed, or never held the name of the saints who ruled the city. And look at the interior of all of these cathedrals. All of the artwork, paintings, statues, all dedicated to the saints. Even images of Yahusha. Most of the grand buildings we see across our realm were built during the millennium reign with Satan bound. And as we can see by all the images of the saints in the cathedrals, we worshipped the saints as gods. We messed it up again. And we fought with each other over doctrine, even coming to drawing blood. The Crusades were not what we have been told. I don't know if the Crusades is a occulted and exaggerated story of the apostles conquering all of the earth and bringing Yahweh's word to everyone across our realm, or if the Crusades were the Great Tribulation. Beginning of the Great Tribulation, perhaps. We don't know, because we don't know the true history, our own true history. The Bible is the only history book. We have to search those pages to try and figure out what the stories we've been told are, what they really mean and what they really are. Satan has been released for a little while. What is coming is Judgment Day. Revelation 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahusha, and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with the Mashiach, which means the anointed, 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. That's the apostles, all of the saints, the first resurrection. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. And fire came down from Yahweh out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night for ever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the book, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. The 1,000-year reign with Satan bound has ended. We messed it up again, and Satan has been released for a season. All this havoc we see now is because Satan is furiously wreaking havoc during this short time before the day of Yahweh, Judgment Day. Daniel 12:1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Michael the archangel who holds Satan back. He's the archangel who holds Satan back from accusing men of wrongdoing. Zechariah 3:1-5. Then he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of Yahweh, and Satan standing at his right side to accuse him. The angel of Yahweh said to Satan, Yahweh rebuke you, Satan. Yahweh who has chosen Jerusalem, rebuke you. Is not this man a burning stick snatched from the fire? Now Joshua was dressed in filthy clothes as he stood before the angel. The angel said to those who were standing before him, Take off his filthy clothes. Then he said to Joshua, See, I have taken away your sin, and I will put fine garments on you. Then I said, Put a clean turban on his head. So they put a clean turban on his head and clothed him, while the angel of Yahweh stood by. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation even to the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise will shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. There's a tremendous amount of technology being released right now. The knowledge that is available is just unlimited with the internet, computers, smartphones. You can find absolutely all the information. The problem is that you're going to find misinformation and false flags in an attempt to lead the seeker of the truth astray. You must rely on Yahweh to keep you on the straight path. Know his word. Read his word. Joshua is translated into Yahusha, which means Yah is salvation. The name Yahweh used for the physical body he inhabited while he walked among us here on earth. We, the followers of the way, the truth, and the light of Yahusha, are the body of Yahusha. We partook of his body, the blood, in the new covenant. Matthew 26, verses 26-29. And as they were eating, Yahusha took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. When did the kingdom of Yahweh begin? With Satan bound. When Yahusha drank of the vine, the wine vinegar. John 29, verse 29 through 30. Now there was set a vessel full of wine vinegar, and they filled a sponge with wine vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Yahusha therefore had received the wine vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head, and gave up the spirit. Yahusha died. His blood drained out upon the earth. The altar not made by the hands of men, but by the voice of Yahweh, Yahusha, in atonement for our sin. Daniel 12, 5 through 13. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood two other, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth for ever, that it shall be for a time, times, and half, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Adonai, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the end, to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolation set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Who took the daily sacrifice away? Yahweh did, when he died on the cross as the final sacrifice. The countdown started then for the 1,290 days that Yahweh's kingdom here on earth, with Satan bound, would reign. For Satan was bound when Yahusha rose from the grave, conquering death and binding Satan for 1,000 years. The extra 290 is the Great Tribulation, the time when Satan was released, beginning of the time that Satan was released, and began to murder all the saints and all of the followers, because we messed it up again, and that's why we were punished again. So if you subtract the 1,335 days from the 1,290 days, you get 45 days. So a day is as 1,000 years to Yah, or one day is as a year. Or maybe 100 years. The year is not 2021. The year is 450, since Satan was released at the end of the 1,000-year reign of the saints, princes, with Satan bound. It's been about 450 years, roundabout. The first generation was tried by water, the great flood. Second generation was tried by blood, the great tribulation. We are the third generation, the third part. We will be tried by fire. Zechariah 13:9. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my Yahusha. Yahweh is my Savior. Remember that Yahusha means salvation, and Yahusha came from Yahweh. Only Yahweh saves. Shalom.